The Polo Grounds was one of the most famous stadium locations in the history of the New York City area. Starting off as a literal polo ground in Central Park, this venue would be rebuilt several times over in its second location in Manhattan. This is the rise and fall of the Polo Grounds. The Polo Grounds would begin as a polo playing area in Central Park. But as a baseball stadium, it would begin its era as such in the 1880s. Slowly but surely, baseball being played at the grounds would surge in popularity, with seating being constructed and expanded throughout the 1880s. By the end of the decade, the first version of the grounds would be moved, and its more famous location near the Harlem River, due to road development in the original location, would be ready for baseball. The main tenant, the New York baseball Giants, would begin their longtime tenure there after their short stay at the original, while also being known as the New York Metropolitan there. The second version was more of a transitory stadium, as the third would be quickly built, with room for 16,000. Over the next 21 years, the grounds were gradually expanded, this time all the way to 31,000. Unfortunately, in 1911 though, a fire would bring the third version to its end. The fourth, final, and most famous version would be ready later that year, and would have some of the strangest dimensions of any ballpark ever built. The edges were unusually close, at under 300 feet. However, the outfield was particularly far, extending to well over 400 feet away from home. The Yankees would vacate the venue after a 10-year stay, and would begin their longtime stay at Yankee Stadium. However, the Giants would double down on their venue in the early 20s, with the capacity increase making it 55,000. By the mid-1920s, it had become an NFL-MLB stadium, then hosting both the football and baseball Giants for 30 years simultaneously. Going into the 50s, the stadium had lost much of its shine, with many newer and better venues being built since its opening. The grounds had simply not aged as well as other stadiums built in its era. The area around it had changed, and the Giants were constantly playing second fiddle to the Yankees. In the later decades at the Polo Grounds, the Giants just really couldn't draw like the Yankees could at their stadium, never exceeding 20,790 in attendance in a season. The area around the stadium was also becoming a low-income housing development, losing much of its charm. In 1957, low attendance, an aging venue, and no plans for a replacement would lead to the decision to move the team to San Francisco. This being 2 years after the football Giants had vacated for Yankee Stadium. Despite this, the Polo Grounds would not be demolished immediately after its two main tenants left, as it would see a second, albeit short life, as a baseball and football venue, with the New York Mets, Jets, and Titans franchises all playing there. In 1964, the Polo Grounds would see its end, with its demolition that year. It was not without seeing much success though for its teams, with 17 pennants for the Giants and 5 World Series wins, the famous Willie Mays catch, and multiple NFL championships for the Giants. Today that location is now housing projects. However, today one reminder still remains. Though not actually part of the stadium itself, a staircase that led down the bluff that people used to watch games from to go down to the Polo Grounds remains. Though it didn't quite have the same recognition as stadiums such as Fenway or Wrigley, the Polo Grounds played an important part in the history of baseball, football, and New York City. Thank you for watching.